We're parents, teachers, and educators, and like you, we're passionate about restoring our culture for Christ. This is Veritas Vox, the voice of classical Christian education.
Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Veritas Vox, the voice of classical Christian education. Today we have with us Pam Mork. Pam, thanks for joining us.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here.
It's really exciting to talk to you. It's not most of the work that you've done for us, you've been working with other people, and this is kind of fun for me to talk about the project that you have completed recently. That's pretty exciting. But before we get into that, did you want to say something? Oh, before we get into that, I want to hear a little bit about you, your family, your education, and your career.
Well, I am an associate professor of chemistry at a small four-year liberal arts college where emphasis is on writing and critical thinking, and all of the students, from the science students to the humanities, value humanities. And we absolutely see that when our science students go on to medical school, dental schools, they are extremely well prepared because they have that core liberal arts, what classical education background. So that's where I've been working for a number of years, and we have four children, and I wanted them to have that same emphasis on a rich background in history, humanities, politics, art, writing, critical thinking, even though I'm a science professor. And yeah, so my husband is a biochemist. He works in biotech here in town, and I teach chemistry here at Concordia College.
Concordia College. Now that is, it was founded as and remains a Lutheran college. Is that correct?
It does.
And how old is it? It's fairly old.
120 years old,
Yeah, I thought so.
and very much values the historical church background and doctrines that um, that our history came out of. And our students still take 2 courses in religion as a requirement to graduate.
Yeah. Very good. And you come by being a Lutheran school in Minnesota is very in line with the culture there. Probably one of the densest populations of Lutheran um, Christians in America, isn't it? Yeah.
Very much so. Missouri is probably another huge hub.
Yeah, that's right. Missouri
certainly
would
the Minneapolis area is very full of Lutherans. And yeah, so
yeah.
I
How
can
did you get
bring the hot
connected
dish,
with?
and I know how to put Jello in the liturgical colors.
That's great. How did you get connected with Veritas?
Well, I was homeschooling my children and very much using the four-year history cycle and
It's actually 5.
working a liberal arts perspective.
Okay.
5, sorry,
5, yeah.
misspoke there.
There are some that are 4, and I don't want people to
working-
think that you were using something else.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I got an email where you were talking about wanting to make a 5-year science series
Yeah.
at the level that Veritas Press materials are known to be at, and you were looking for authors. And I wrote an application, and interestingly, it was misdirected to your academy, thinking the person who opened it thought that I wanted to teach.
Oh, I didn't remember
I
that.
definitely can't add anything
Yeah.
to my life. Yes. And eventually somebody caught the mistake and forwarded it to Michael
Yeah.
Eatman.
Yep.
And he contacted me and deeply apologized for this, huge delay in response. And we started hashing out, well, what could this project look like, and what would distinguish it from the other things that are on the market? What would make it uniquely a Veritas Press product?
Right. Yeah. Well, and we had some fits and starts in trying to do the science curriculum when we still hope to do it one day, but you had personally begun writing the chemistry text. And that was very important to us because one of the main sources of science curriculum for us had a big stumble with their chemistry text, and it wasn't usable in an edition that they put out. And so we were in a very awkward position. Our project of getting all five sciences wasn't coming together in the way that we had hoped. You were working on the chemistry book for us. And so we said, even though we're not ready to go forward with all of them, we'd really like to finish this. And tell us how that worked out for you. And I know you had a lot of help from another college professor, Paula Gossard. You guys really became quite the team.
I love Paula. I mean, I would vacation with her.
That says a lot. As you got
We,
into the chemistry text and as you knew what Veritas tries to achieve with its curriculum, what would be some of the key principles that you decided you needed to keep in front of you throughout your writing?
well, chemistry is an intimidating topic to handle at home. I hear from many families that this is one that makes them rethink whether homeschooling is right for them. So first, I
Interesting.
wanted
Yeah,
to provide a product that supported and took away that fear and intimidation factor. Also, many of the products that are available genuinely don't go to a level that would prepare a student for college level chemistry, in my
right,
opinion.
right,
Topics were omitted. Maybe it would take 2 years to work through the whole curriculum. There were some limitations. Not every homeschooling family wants to spend 2 years on chemistry.
right,
And if a student was hoping to take an AP exam, there were not materials available that would get your student to that level in
right,
under 2 years. So, with those goals, and knowing that we wanted to keep as a significant component the history of science. Where did we come from? How did thoughts progress? What are
right,
the ethics in science? And always that God created science so that I could go to the lab and I could discover. And that's where we started this project from.
yeah, yeah. One of the things, I don't know if you have ever heard my background in the sciences, but chemistry in particular. In high school, I ended up studying business management in college, and that was my degree. But in high school, of course, everybody that's on a college prep track takes biology, chemistry, and physics, generally in that order. And we had a teacher in chemistry. I have heard it said, I've never verified this, but I've heard it said that he was actually voted the teacher of the year in Pennsylvania for all of schools, not just sciences. And he was remarkable. His name was Mr. Nolt. And we had what he apparently thought was a fairly unique class when we took chemistry with him in 11th grade. And I'll describe some of the people that came out of that. You'll find it interesting. Um, Many of them were quite good at math. Math has always come easily to me. He could tell that we were enjoying him and we were enjoying this first year, first level chemistry. And so he asked us about 2/3 of the way into the school year. Now, we didn't know what this meant other than we got to keep going in chemistry. He said, if I put together a semester of organic chemistry next year, how many people would sign up for it? And about 2/3 of us ended up doing, I don't remember how many polled yes at that point, but it was really, really fun. And he made chemistry so enjoyable. And we just had a blast. And it was serious chemistry. When you spoke critically, and I think rightfully so, in the homeschool world, trying to do chemistry at home is very difficult. The material is difficult. If a parent isn't trained in it, it's almost impossible to do a really deep job in chemistry. And the materials are quite limited. We think of it as a kitchen sink kind of laboratory. And we've tried to get beyond that with what you've written. Tell us how we've accomplished that. What were your objectives that helped us get beyond kitchen sink mom chemistry?
Well, I do teach college chemistry. I know where students need to be on that first day of college. So I had an end goal and I backwards designed it for where we needed to start. But the biggest difference from a traditional textbook is I speak to the student. I see this. Can you see this? Rather than the traditional science passive voice. It is shown in the reaction. No, I talk about it. I make jokes. I show them pictures of it. I use analogies, um, things that entice them to see it in their everyday life. So each chapter, for example, connect chemistry in some way. Okay, sometimes a little tangential, but sometimes very obvious in metal. We
Yeah.
tie it into a Bible story and talk about how chemical ideas have been around for directly to the student that profoundly makes this book different than other books on the market. Each problem is thoughtfully designed to bring the student up in understanding. Every question has a full solution. Every problem in the book has a fully worked out solution with explanation for the student. Because I know that not every parent has the background, energy, or interest in helping a student when all they get is the answer.
Yeah.
So I tried to give everything to support that student and family.
That now, quite honestly, that means that it's harder in simple terms, it's more difficult than much of what's out in the marketplace. What would you say to that?
Absolutely true. If you choose a mainstream public school chemistry textbook, it is woefully inadequate for preparation for college. So a lot of homeschoolers and a lot of high school programs choose a college level book. But a college level book assumes you've had a year of chemistry and it doesn't take time to define the terms carefully.
Yeah.
And it doesn't scaffold as methodically. It assumes some background. This book does not assume that you have had chemistry before. Maybe in a physical science class you had a little bit, but it doesn't make that assumption.
Yeah.
I like to think of it as, in the Three Bear story, the porridge is just right. It's the perfect level for somebody discovering chemistry at the correct difficulty in a high school setting.
Yeah. Well, let's say it's pretty obvious. Somebody says, well, I want to go into chemical engineering in college, or I want to become a doctor, or I want to do medical research. Those people have an obvious sense that serious chemistry is necessary. But what would you say to the non STEM oriented chemistry aspect of STEM fields? What would you say to the person who is enjoying the liberal arts education they're getting at Veritas and might have the question, should I really have to take such a rigorous, robust chemistry class? Why would you tell them they should?
Well, I think everybody should, simply because one of my life lessons is never turn down knowledge. Just because when you're 15 and you think, oh, I'm never going to need this, it does not mean that when you're 45, you're not running a business that's a biotech company. And many of my husband's managers found that lesson out the hard way.
I'll bet.
So we don't turn down knowledge. And I think that is one of the values that you get out of a liberal arts education. Because I would turn around and say, why are doctors needing to learn Latin or learn about Plutarch?
Yeah.
Because it is part of what a well-rounded education involves.
Yeah.
Do I think this book is accessible to people who are not that interested in science? Yes, because it's written to be like I'm speaking to the student right there in your kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
love
that
that.
brings the intimidation factor down.
Yeah.
And we can provide guidance on topics that maybe genuinely don't need to be covered, but those topics are there and they are genuinely presented so that people can learn them, even if they prefer liberal arts and
Yeah.
humanities and writing.
Yeah. I There are occasional memes in social media on the internet that thematically are basically another day and I didn't use algebra. And I want to laugh at those
Correct.
memes because I know everybody uses forms of algebra every day. It's as basic as going to the grocery
Absolutely.
store and thinking in terms of the economic impact of what you're doing there. I could go on with a list of things. I think that's true of chemistry too. I think the uh, poet, the writer in general, the artist, the businessman might be inclined to say another day and I didn't use chemistry, but it just isn't true. Our lives are filled with benefits from what we've learned in chemistry in high school and college.
Absolutely. And
Can
a disturbing trend in society is the thought that, well, I can't understand. Usually they're thinking of something in science, therefore, it's not real, it's not valid, I'm going to ignore it. But our society does not work in a way that we can ignore the science around us that is transforming lives, that is providing medications on consumer products, things like your cell phone. What is the metal in there that is allowing me to take Snapchats with little doggy ears on me? And it's the truth. It is all around us. And one of the greatest economic products of the US are our technologies, our sciences, the progressive, we can try this, we can learn this. I don't think anyone in the 21st century can consider themselves educated if they have not heard about chemistry, tried some chemistry.
Yeah.
And I do think the logic and understanding, some of the basic principles of matter is conserved. When we do a reaction, those molecules go somewhere. In a kind of awkward conversation, when you take a medication, there are waste products that you excrete that go into the environment. That goes into our water and has to be treated.
Yeah.
That's pretty much a community problem. And a background in science helps you understand and appreciate that.
And it's not just the person who has to do the analysis that has to treat it. It's about my health. It's about the health of my children and my wife. Understanding those implications are just one good, small but significant example.
Correct. Even the city manager who has to decide what part of the budget is directed toward community health.
Yeah.
It is, I really believe we call chemistry the central science. It is very hard to truly understand biology without chemistry. It is very hard to understand geology or environmental science without a good background in chemistry.
I think you're convincing me that chemistry is even more important than algebra.
I do find it hard to teach chemistry if people have not absorbed what algebra is and how to manipulate it.
Well, I understand that. I was making a little bit of a joke and suggesting with the things that you've mentioned, when somebody says another day and I didn't use algebra, maybe there's a reason why not many people say another day and I didn't use chemistry, because they know they do. You've made some really good points.
I hope so. I love reading about major progress that we're making in understanding things or creating a product that is truly going to be life-saving.
Yeah.
Even things like carbon scrubbing to work with environmental issues. These are fascinating areas. I personally tell my students that you are currently learning for jobs that have not even been conceived of yet.
Wow.
So we don't skip knowledge.
Yeah. That's really well said. I am so excited for the chemistry book to really be implemented increasingly in what we do. And one of our reasons for wanting to have you record this with us was because we wanted the infection that came from your excitement in doing it to be evident to those and really see how good this book is and how exciting it is to be able to work with a chemistry book that doesn't skip things, but nor does it dumb them down. I love it.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It will be like me sitting next to your son or daughter working and learning chemistry together.
That's exciting. So I have to ask you one last question. One of the things my high school chemistry teacher enjoyed doing as a joke was he would open up the butyric acid. You ever do that for your kids?
No, no.
It's,
Rancid butter. Nope.
it is rancid butter, but rancid butter does not do it justice. How would you describe it for our audience who may not know what it smells like?
Nose, like your nose clamps shut in a vain attempt to keep this from coating all the sensors in your sinus passages. Ooh, that is a nasty, nasty drug molecule.
I don't remember the smell, but I remember the reaction, and it was funny, and our teacher loved it.
Oh, absolutely. There are quite a few sinus clearers that we talk about, but we don't bring them into the classroom anymore.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us here. I want to thank you for what you did for Veritas, and even more so for the families that look to us for excellence. And you really have produced one excellent chemistry book. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have been honored to work with the team at Veritas Press. It has been nothing but an amazing project from beginning to end because our goals are so aligned, and this book will be uniquely good for families.
Wonderful.
It feels good.
Yeah, it does. Well, folks, thank you again for joining us on another episode of Veritas Vox. We hope to see you next time. Pam, thank you.
Thank you.